want to hold an inefficient portfolio. So assuming that the past returns in the last 20 years is a good indicator of what's going to happen in the future, nobody should own only gold. That means you're leaving money on the table. By having an alternative portfolio, you can have higher return and lower risk. So why wouldn't you want that? So our task is to figure out what efficient portfolios look like. This doesn't mean that there aren't any irrational investors in the market. There are, but dumb money is always driven out of the market. Smarter people are going to take their money, and once the dumb investors are out of money, they won't be in the market anymore. That doesn't mean we don't get a new supply of idiots. We do. How do you think Wall Street makes money, other than taking advantage of small investors? All right. Now, so we will do an exercise where we will figure out for each level of desired reward we determine the portfolio that has the least risk. The graph that plots the minimized risk in the x-axis or horizontal axis, against desired reward, vertical, is called the minimum variance frontier or boundary, actually. So let's kind of get started. Let us see. Looking at the, I'm going to use, in this case, trim mean as a measure of reward, and MAD as a measure of risk. You'll get different weights if you use different set of measures, but the overall shape is not going to look that different. If you are using the computers here, you have to make sure that solver is available. I'm in the wrong place. If under data tab at the very end you have something called solver, you already have it. If not, go to file, options, add-ins. Down here it says manage Excel add-ins and go. Make sure that solver add-in is checked. Okay, we have that. And let's see. Under data tab, by the way, your data tab may not be in the same place as mine. I'm left eye dominant, so I put the things that I use the most to the left. So if you want to change that, under any ribbon, right-click, customize the ribbon, and change their location. So if you want to take the data tab down here, now it's here. Okay. And you could also change the location of things in those. I'm going to hit Solver. I have used Solver with this file before, but let's assume that we had not. So I'm going to make this look like what you would see if you are using Solver for the first time. It has a few arguments. The first one is, what is my objective? Well, my objective is about risk, right? What do I want to do with that risk? Well, I want to minimize it. So min is checked. What am I free to vary around to reach that goal? Well, it's the set of weights. Remember, a portfolio is uniquely defined by a set of weights. So I pick those cells. Do I have any restrictions on those weights? First, right now, I don't want to restrict them to be non-negative. Non-negative means you can only buy things, you cannot short stuff. Okay? And let me see. And I want to add constraints. So there are two constraints. The first constraint is I want the sum of weights to equal 1. Okay. That's normal, you know, you want to put everything into one place. Here we're not doing anything with cash, but we could have easily added cash as well. And the second one, I'm going to add another constraint. I want, remember, we calculated this cell as the difference between my expected reward and the actual reward. I want that difference to equal 0. You know, it turns out, at least in this setting where I don't restrict the weights to be non-negative, there are infinitely many possible portfolios that satisfies both of those restrictions. So I'm going to ask Excel to solve it for me. It has converged to a solution. Constraints are satisfied. So sum of weights is equal to 100%. The difference between expected and actual is exactly the same. The difference is 0. So let's start with a lower value. Let's start with 0. Okay. I want to find the set of weights that gives me the least risky portfolio among portfolios that has an expected reward of 0, if such a thing even exists. So I'm going to go to Solver again. Nice thing about Solver, it keeps anything you have done in the previous try right there. I don't want to change anything. I mean, I set it up so that it's all based on the difference between the actual reward and expected reward. So as long as I change the expected reward, I'm good. Hit solve. It has converged to a solution. Let's look at the weights. It basically says, in order to achieve that, you need to short S&P 500 and gold and have long positions in corporate bonds and international assets. This may or may not be a portfolio that's you want, but among portfolios that are expected to have exactly zero average return, this is the least risky one. So we're going to start a little chart. On my horizontal axis, I'm going to have risk. On my vertical, I'm going to have reward. Let's call this desired reward. And let's call this main risk. So if desired, I'll copy the desired reward from here. Actually, I'm going to be smart about it. Let me move these to here. Okay. This way, I can actually just copy the numbers easily. It's just for convenience. When you actually move a cell like that, all the references to that cell are also shifted in the formulas. For example, this now refers to precisely that cell as I want. When you double click on any formula, Excel highlights the cells that it's referring to as long as it's in the visible range. So you can see it. All right. Now let's do it for another number. Let's do it for 1%. All I have to do is go to Data, Solver, and let me see. I need to change that. Oh, no, I don't need to change that, because I haven't done anything to the difference. So all I have to do is hit solve again, find the solution,